Hello and welcome everyone on our channel Legacy IAS Academy. So today we are going to discuss the syllabus of PSIR. So the students, those who are preparing for civil services examination, so for them we are going to discuss the syllabus of PSIR. That means we are going to decode the syllabus in the form of micro topics. Okay. So first we'll try to understand the structure of the syllabus of PSIR, and then we'll try to discuss the important topics of your syllabus. So let's begin with the session. So as we all know that optional subject consists two papers. Okay. Optional subject consists two papers. So same case with PSIR also. Okay. So there are two papers, that is paper 1 and paper 2. Okay. And each paper is divided into two sections, that is section A and section B. Same case with paper 2 also, two sections, section A and section B. Now, paper 1 in PSIR, which creates a background, which creates a base for other topics. So there are two sections, section A and section B. Now section A, there are three important topics. First of all, theories, then Indian government and politics. So to understand Indian government and politics or Indian system, we need to understand India's freedom struggle, India's freedom movements. Clear? So there are three important topics. Now again, in section A there are three important topics. Okay. Now first of all we'll try to understand theories. So theories creates a base for other topics, like in section A of paper 1. Okay. So most important topic is theory. Now first of all, what do you understand by theory? Theory is a kind of tool to understand the particular phenomenon. Theory is a kind of tool to understand the particular phenomenon. Then what do you understand by political theory? So political theory is a tool to understand political phenomenon. Political theory is a tool to understand political phenomenon. Clear? So theories. Clear? So there are various important scholars. For example, you can divide this section into different segments. Now, first of all, Western political thoughts. Okay. Now, what do you understand by thought? Thought always determines the thinking of a scholar with respect to his time and space. Getting my point? So thought always represents the background of a scholar with respect to time and space. Clear? So Western political thought, because political science was invented as a discipline in Western world, that is Greek civilization. So initially it was a part of philosophy, and then political science was segregated from philosophy. So who is the father of political science? Aristotle. Getting my point? So Western political thought, it starts from the time period of Socrates, Plato, then the disciple of Plato, Aristotle, then Machiavelli. Now the thoughts of Machiavelli represents the transitional phase from ancient world to modern world. Then after that Machiavelli, Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Gramsci, Karl Marx, Hannah Arendt, all these scholars are there. Okay, so first we will try to understand these things. Okay, now the most important thing here is you need to understand how to read PSIR. So always read PSIR in a sequential manner or in sequence, because one topic is related with other topic. Getting my point? So lot of overlapping is there. Okay, so you have to read this syllabus in a sequential manner. So Western political thought, then another important aspect, that is Indian political thought. Indian political thought, like the thoughts of Buddha, because Buddha was the political advisor of Bimbisar. Okay, then Dharma Shastra, Manu Smriti, Kautilya's Arthashastra. So these things we are going to discuss. Then the thoughts of Gandhi, Ambedkar, M.N. Roy, Aurobindo Ghosh. Clear? So it is important to study Indian political thought also. Then these two are important topics. Then the third important thing is theories in section A. Now theories, how? So as I have told you that theory represents a tool. Theory is a tool to understand particular phenomenon. Now like theories of state, okay, then theories of rights, equality, justice, okay, ideology, etc. So these things are there in your section A. Okay, so this is the syllabus of section A, paper 1. So now I am going to show you the syllabus first, then I'll be explaining the important topics with respect to your examination. Okay, now so as you can see here, the syllabus, paper 1, section A. Okay, so it is written here, paper 1, section A. You can see these topics also. So there are total 10 topics, 10 chapters in your section A PSIR, paper 1. Okay, so the first chapter, okay, first chapter is political theory. Okay, that what do you understand by theory? What does it mean? What are the approaches? Getting my point? So we are not going to start with political theory. As I have told you, you have to read it in a sequential manner so that you can understand easily. Clear? 99% students, they do mistakes while reading the syllabus. You have to start always from Western political thought, which is a 10th chapter. Getting my point? 10th chapter, which starts from the thoughts of Plato. Because this chapter is going to tell you how political science as a discipline was invented. Clear? So it starts from Plato. Plato, who is also called as father of political philosophy. Father of political philosophy. Clear? Then another scholar, Aristotle. Aristotle, who was also the disciple of Plato, and Aristotle was the guru of Alexander the Great. Clear? So Aristotle was a realist thinker, realist scholar. That is why he is called as father of political science. Father of political science. Then Machiavelli. Okay, Machiavelli. Now Machiavelli represents modern thinking. Why? Now you must have a question. Then sir, if these scholars represents ancient political thought, then what about medieval times? Okay, so in the upcoming lectures, I will be discussing what exactly happens in medieval time. Medieval time, which is also called as age of religion. In medieval time, there was a religious change in Middle East as well as Europe. That is birth of Christianity, and then the spread of Christianity. Roman Empire was there. So these things we will be discussing in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so Machiavelli represents the transitional phase, transitional from ancient to modern world. Clear? Then Thomas Hobbes, very important scholar. Getting my point? He talks about absolute state. During his time period, the concept of nation state system came 1648 with the Treaty of Westphalia. There was a civil war in Europe. Okay, so gradually we will be discussing these things in the upcoming session. So today what we will do, we will try to decode the syllabus. Okay, I will make PSIR more interesting for all of you. Clear? Then John Locke, father of liberalism. Okay, then J.S. Mill, Karl Marx, Gramsci, Hannah Arendt. So these are some important scholars. Now, from your examination point of view, so Western political thought is a one chapter, but it consists number of scholars. So we need to understand the thoughts of different scholars. Clear? So from the examination point of view, two scholars are very important. Now those two scholars, okay, so from the examination point of view, okay, in Western political thought, so from the examination point of view, two scholars are very important. That is Karl Marx and Hannah Arendt. These two scholars, Hannah Arendt. Clear? So Karl Marx, who is also called as the prophet of socialism. Okay, now these scholars are very important from the examination point of view. If you go through previous year questions, you will find that UPSC asks every year questions from Karl Marx and Hannah Arendt. Getting my point? So you cannot skip any topic, okay, but you should know that what are the topics that are more important for your examination. Clear? So this Western political thought creates a base for other topics. This chapter, it creates a base for other topics. Clear? Now, so Western political thought creates a base for other topics because of these scholars. Now because of these scholars, as you can see here, Plato, Aristotle, Machiavelli, Karl Marx, Thomas Hobbes, okay, because of these scholars, ideology was created. Getting my point? That means after completing Western political thought, you need to understand, you should start reading ideology. So you can see here chapter number 8, which talks about ideology. Okay, so this chapter number 8, which talks about political ideology. So there are different ideologies. Getting my point? So you will find repetism. Okay, so ideologies are very important. Okay, so like you can see, liberalism, socialism, Marxism, fascism, Gandhism and feminism. These are some important ideologies. Getting my point? So based, now for example, father of liberalism, John Locke. So after completing this Western political thought, again you are going to study John Locke here. That means lot of repetition is there in PSIR syllabus. Okay, getting my point? That means it will help you in revision within the optional subject itself. Okay, so liberalism, socialism, Marxism, fascism, Gandhism, feminism. Now from the examination point of view, you need to focus. Now from the examination point of view, UPSC point of view, so in ideology, you should focus on feminism and fascism Getting my point? You should focus on feminism and fascism. Now first of all, why fascism? Because if you see the era of 21st century where right wings are in power. Getting my point? So with this topic, with this ideology, okay, you are going to study, you are going to understand different things like rise of authoritarian government, rise of authoritarianism. Okay, that means rise of rightist. Okay, after 1991, after the globalization era, a new political ideology came, that is neo-rightist or right wing. Okay, so this concept of left wing and right wing, these concepts came from history. Again, history, French Revolution. Getting my point? So from the examination point of view, you have to focus more on fascism. And then feminism, yes. Okay, feminism is extremely important. Okay, it should be prepared thoroughly. Okay, in each and every paper, no UPSC paper is without this topic, because women issues are very important. Women issues are very important. This much is clear to all of you? Okay, if you have any doubt, you can kindly post your queries in the comment section. Clear? So I will try to answer your queries, okay, live only. Getting my point? Okay, so after these ideologies, now first you should go through Western political thought. So based on that ideology, now ideologies are created for state. Okay, no state is without ideology. So ideology is created for state only. So after completion of this topic, you should go through theories of state. Okay, now as you can see here, second chapter, theories of state. Okay, so there are different theories of state: liberal theory, neoliberal theory. Okay, then Marxist, pluralist theory of state, post-colonial, feminist theory of state. So there are different theories of state. Okay, so this topic overlaps with ideology, because state cannot run without ideology. Okay, so from the UPSC point of view, UPSC will ask 99% every year. UPSC asks from this section, post-colonial. Okay, now you must be having a question that why only from post-colonial? You are preparing for civil services examination. Okay, Indian civil services examination. and India is a post-colonial state. Post-colonial state means those states which are created as a nation and which were the colony of European powers in the past. So India was also a colony. That is why India comes under post-colonial state. Getting my point? So India is considered as a soft state. Okay, India is considered as a soft state. Now, so in terms of state, your focus, you have to read each and everything, okay, but UPSC always asks question from this topic, post-colonial view. Okay, now India comes under post-colonial state. So India is a soft state. Why India is called as soft state? Because India is soft on criminals. Soft on criminals. That means our main motive is to prevent crime. Main motive is to prevent crime. Getting my point? That is why India is considered as a soft state, soft on criminals. Getting my point? Remember this thing. Now, state represents what? State represents authority. State represents authority. And authority represents what? Power. Authority comes from power. Okay, that means after theory of state, you should read theory of power. Getting my point? So, another important topic in your syllabus. Okay, so after reading theory of state, you should go for theory of power, where chapter number 7, as you can see here. Okay, chapter number 7, concept of power, hegemony, ideology, legitimacy, these 4 concepts. So after completing the theories of state, you should read theories of power. Okay, so from theories of power, compulsory question will be there in your UPSC mains optional examination. Okay, so from the concept of power, they will ask you. Now, so from the concept of power, they will ask you the views of Hannah Arendt. Now, Hannah Arendt, okay, you have to study about her in Western political thought also and in power also. That means again overlapping, revision. Clear? So you have to write the views of Hannah Arendt. Okay. Another important scholar, Foucault theory of power. Foucault theory of power. So these things are important. So you will find compulsory question. Then Gramsci will also be there. Gramsci. So from this topic you will get compulsory question in mains. Compulsory question in mains. Getting my point? So after theories of power, now today majority of the countries have adopted the model of democracy. So after the completion of theories of power, you should read theory of democracy, chapter number 6 here in your syllabus. Okay. So chapter number 6, theory of democracy. So here there are different models, different theories of democracy, like classical and contemporary theories. Okay, and apart from this, different models of democracy like representative, participatory, deliberative democracy. Okay, so from this topic UPSC will ask you deliberative democracy, very important. Okay, so two important topics are there, participatory and deliberative. Okay, so UPSC always asks from these two topics. Okay, so from the theory of democracy, so from this UPSC asks questions from two important models, that is participatory and deliberative democracy. Deliberative democracy. These two are important for your examination. Getting my point? So there are different models of democracy, but these two are important for your examination point of view. Now, when we say democracy, that means freedom of rights, expression, freedom of speech, everything is given in democracy. Okay, so rights are one of the most important topic. So after the completion of democracy, you should start with the theory of rights. Okay, that is chapter number 5. Okay, theories of rights. Okay, chapter number 5, theory of rights, meaning and theories of rights, different kinds of rights like natural right, fundamental right. Okay, and then concept of human rights. Now from the UPSC perspective, human rights topic is very important. Now I will be telling you why human right topic is very important. There is a reason, because the concept of human right was evolved after the Second World War. The concept of human right, okay, so this human rights, now this concept of human rights, it was evolved after Second World War, that is post Second World War. Okay, now you should have one question in your mind: why this concept of human right was evolved after Second World War? Okay, because of Hitler atrocities against Jews. Hitler violated human rights, okay, of Jews and other minorities. So this is because of Hitler atrocities. Hitler atrocities against Jews and other minorities. That is why after Second World War you will see that United Nations Human Rights, okay, UN Human Rights was evolved. United Nations Declaration on Rights, okay. So UNHR was created. United Nations Human Rights were created after Second World War. This is the most important thing. Okay. Now, when we say human rights or rights, so in a democratic country in 21st century, what are the issues which are associated with the rights? So in 21st century, what are the issues with which are associated with rights? So basically, if you see India, India is a multicultural country. Another important thing is rights of immigrant, because today immigration started. So two important things, two important issues. Immigration. Okay, because immigrants should also get rights. Okay, so multicultural perspectives are there. So because this century is a century of multiculturalism. Okay, and in multiculturalism, immigration and rights of minorities are important. Immigration and rights of minorities are important. Now when I am saying minorities, okay, so there is an issue which is going on, Manipur violence. Getting my point? So you should connect these topics with your current also. Manipur violence, communal clashes, getting my point? These are some important things. Clear? Now, so rights should be given to all of you. Okay, rights should be given to everyone. Okay. Now, if you see Article 21 of our Constitution, which talks about right to life and liberty, it is this right to life and liberty, it got international recognition. It is an international right also. Getting my point? So these things are very important. So after the completion of theories of rights, you should go through theories of justice. Okay? Because state has to work on the principle of justice. So chapter number 3, justice. So chapter number 3, justice. So here are different theories, different conceptions of justice, and special reference is given to John Rawls' theory of justice, who says that justice as its fairness. Getting my point? So John Rawls is very important. Okay. Now there cannot be any question without this topic. Justice is very important. There cannot be any question without this topic. Getting my point? This topic can be interlinked with other topics also. Okay, that is why this topic is very important. Okay, so justice and equality both are important. Okay, justice and equality, that is chapter number 4, both are important. Now, in terms of equality, social, political, economic equality, these things are there. Okay, so political equality, like right to vote, should be given to all of you. Okay, economic equality, reduction in inequalities. Getting my point? Social equality. Okay, social equality means redistribution of resources, equal distribution of resources. Okay, so in terms of equality, so in terms of justice, John Rawls is important. In terms of equality, Dworkin theory. Dworkin is the name of the scholar, and Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen is also very important, because Amartya Sen talks about equality of resources, outcomes and all. Okay. So, and last thing that you can see here in the topic equality, that is affirmative action. What is affirmative action? Affirmative action is a kind of positive discrimination. Positive discrimination in the sense there are various castes and communities, okay, who are considered as disadvantaged, who faced social evil since ancient times. That is why a state is favoring them in the form of reservation. Okay, so reservation is a kind of positive discrimination to uplift those castes and communities. So this is called as affirmative action. Very important topic. So this topic is important in your PSIR also, affirmative action, as well as GS paper 2 also. Getting my point? These things are very important. Okay. Now, so we have discussed these things. Now, first chapter you should read at last. That after reading these theories, you will understand what is political theory. This is called as chronology. This is called as sequence. Okay. So then you will come to know what is political theory, what are its approaches, how it got changed after the Second World War. So each and everything will be discussed in the upcoming lectures. Okay. Now, another, okay, Indian political thought. Now this, after the completion of these topics, then you should go through, after the completion of these topics, you should go through different political thoughts that has been evolved in India. Okay, like Dharma Shastra, Arth Shastra. Okay, that means you should know at least Indian tradition, Indian political thought also. Okay, Arthashastra, Buddhist tradition, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan thoughts, Sir Aurobindo Ghosh, M.K. Gandhi, then B.R. Ambedkar, M.N. Roy. These thinkers are very important. That is why section A of PSIR optional creates a base for other topics. Okay, it creates a base for other topics. Okay, so this section A political theory creates a base for other sections. It creates a base for other sections. So I hope this much is clear. Okay, that you got to know how to read the syllabus in a sequential manner. Okay, so that it will be easier for you all to understand PSIR syllabus. Now another paper 1 section B. Now paper 1 section B, which talks about Indian freedom movements, Indian nationalism, Indian government and politics. Okay, now in the first section you have to read theories so that you can understand the practical things. Okay, now this section starts with Indian nationalism. Okay, so it starts with Indian nationalism, like how constitution was evolved. So from constitutionalism to mass satyagraha, mass movements like non-cooperation, civil disobedience, then military and revolutionary movements. Okay, you have to read these topics, and you have to read these topics from the different perspective. Like for example, Marxist perspective, what they say about non-cooperation, nationalist perspective on non-cooperation, Dalit perspective on non-cooperation. So you need to understand different perspective. Getting my point? Okay. Now, okay, so the perspectives on Indian national movement, like liberal perspective, social and Marxist, radical, humanist, Dalit perspective. Okay, so these are some different perspectives. Second important thing is, after the completion of Indian national movement, then the process of making of Indian constitution was started. So second topic would be making of Indian constitution. Okay, so we have borrowed various things from other constitutions. Okay, so what are the things that we have taken from the Britishers? So our constitution, sometimes it is also called as legacies of British rule. There are different social and political perspective, different issues also. Okay, clear everyone? So making of Indian constitution. So after reading making of Indian constitution, and constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949 and it was enforced on 26 January 1950. Okay, so after that we will come to know the features of Indian constitution, like preamble. Okay, the concept of preamble that we have taken from United States of America, then fundamental rights and duties, DPSP, parliamentary system, amendment procedure, Okay, then judicial review, then basic structure doctrine, where we will discuss different cases, also different scholars also. So these things. Now, so these salient feature of Indian constitution comes under Indian politics also. Okay, so this is related to your GS paper 2 as well. Okay, so you have to understand perspective of national movement, different perspective. Then you need to understand Indian thinkers. Okay, then Indian politics, like salient feature of our constitution. Okay, so there are different important features of our constitution, like federalism is there. Okay, grassroots level democracy is there. Okay, so these things we are going to discuss. So as you can see here, the concept of federalism is given under different chapter. So what are the constitutional provisions of federalism? Okay, what is the changing nature of center state relation? So center state relation, there is a concept called as cooperative federalism. So today there is competitive federalism, cooperative federalism. Okay, so these different topics are there. Then integrationist and regional aspirations, then interstate dispute. Interstate dispute, as you can see, that river water disputes are there between different states. Clear? So these things we are going to discuss. Then apart from this, we are going to discuss grassroots democracy also, that is chapter 5, which is also very important, because the concept of Panchayati Raj was also given in your DPSP, okay, Gandhian concept. Okay, and finally we have adopted this grassroots democracy through constitutional amendment, that is 73rd and 74th Amendment Act 1993. Okay, so Panchayati Raj and municipal government, that is rural and urban areas, then these two amendments, 73rd and 74th, and grassroots movement. So these things we are going to discuss. Okay, now most of the questions will be asked here in the context of current affairs, but to understand current affairs you should have traditional knowledge. Okay, so in the classroom, in the live session, we will be studying, remember this thing, we will be studying traditional concept integrated with your current affairs. Getting my point? So these things will make your preparation easier. Okay, then statutory and institutions and commissions. So there are some constitutional bodies like Election Commission, CAG, okay, Finance Commission, UPSC, then National Commission for Scheduled Caste, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, National Commission for Women, NHRC, that is for Human Rights, then National Commission for Minorities and for Backward Classes. So these things are also important. Then the most important thing is Indian political system. Now Indian system, our constitution has created 3 organs of government, that is executive, legislature and judiciary. So there are principal organs of government also, union role, executive, legislature and Supreme Court. Then states role, state government, executive, okay, high courts and legislature. So each and everything we are going to discuss. Then the chapter number 8 is planning and economic development. Now this is also related to your GS paper 3, that is economy, planning and economic developments, where we are going to study, okay, from the historical background like Nehruvian and Gandhian perspectives, okay, then role of planning and public sector, okay, then green revolution, land reforms, agrarian relations, then liberalism and economic reforms, that is the era of LPG 1991. Getting my point? So everything is there in PSIR. Remember this thing. That is why this subject is taken by most of the toppers, and every year around 70 to 80% students, aspirants, they take PSIR as an optional subject, because this subject helps in your GS preparation also. Okay. Then another important topic, role of caste, religion, ethnicity in Indian politics. Getting my point? So for example, into next year in 2024 election, Lok Sabha elections will be there. That is why this time, okay, you can see the violence on the basis of caste, ethnicity, that is in Manipur, okay, because caste, religion and ethnicity, these are important weapons in Indian political system. Clear? Then party system. Now, national and regional parties, how national parties and regional parties are created, then ideological basis of these parties, then pattern of coalition politics, then the role of pressure groups. Pressure groups means those groups who pressurize the government to influence their policies, like big businessmen, Ambani, Adani, NGOs, okay. So they are considered as pressure groups. Then trends in electoral behavior, how the election behavior has been changed after 2014 in India, okay. Then changing socio-economic profile of legislatures. So these things we are going to discuss. Then last topic is social movements. Yes, now you need to understand the social movements of India and other parts of the world. So when we say social movement, that means whole community and society, they participate in these movements like forest satyagraha, environment movement, okay. So these things are very important. Clear? So this is all about paper 1, okay. Now we are going to understand, now we are going to discuss the paper 2, okay. So first we are going to discuss the section A of paper 2. Now here you can see the section A of paper 2, that is comparative politics and India and the world, okay. Now comparative politics and international relations in paper 2 section A. Now comparative politics, okay. Now here we'll try to understand the politics of different countries, okay. That means nature and major approaches of comparative politics, then political economy, political sociology of different countries we are going to understand. We'll try to compare how the politics of India is different from the politics of other countries, okay. Then what are the limitations of comparative method. Then another, so after learning this definition, learning this root word comparative politics, then you need to understand the role of state in comparative politics. Role of state means the role of Indian state, okay, how the role of Indian state is different from the role of China, how the role of China's state is different from Israel. So these things we are going to discuss, that is state in comparative perspective, okay. So here we are going to understand how the nature of state has been changed, okay, in capitalist societies, socialist societies. So these things we are going to understand. So there are countries who are considered as advanced industrial countries. So in advanced industrial countries, what is the role of state and how that role of state is different from India. So these things we'll be discussing. Then third chapter is related to politics, representation and participation. Yes. Now, how pressure groups participate in India, what is the role of pressure groups in Indian political system, how it is different from American pressure groups, okay. Then political parties, then social movements in advanced industrial and developing societies. Clear? Now another important chapter, that is globalization. Now the impact of globalization in developed country and developing country, okay. So these things we are going to understand. Then the approaches to the study of international relations. So from chapter number 5, the theory of international relations is started, okay, because in section B you have to understand India and the world, India's bilateral relations with other countries. Clear? So from here the theory of international relations started. Now what is the idealist perspective of international relations? For example, the foreign policy of Nehru is totally based on idealism, okay. That means idealism means who believes in moral behavior, who believes in values, okay. Then realist perspective. Now if you see, at the same time when India got its independence, so at that time realist perspective was showed by China, okay. That means the foreign policy of Mao Zedong, okay. Then Marxist perspective. Now this perspective was taken into consideration by Russia, or you can say former USSR countries. Clear? Then functionalist system, okay. Functionalist based on different structures, different functions based systems are there. and then system theory. So these theories we are going to discuss. These theories will help you in understanding the newspaper as well as the current thing which is going on in the world. Okay. Then chapter 6, key concepts in international relations. Yes, foreign policy means what? Foreign policy is a policy which is created by a nation, okay, to interact with other nation. Clear? What is the function of ambassador? The function of ambassador is to further its national interest. Okay. So for example, there are various Indian ambassadors in other countries. So what they do there, their main work is to pursue India's national interest. They have to work, okay, as per India's national interest. So this is one of the most important thing. Then security and power, yes, okay. Then balance of power and deterrence. So these words are there in the newspaper also. Now here I will be telling you in a simpler form so that you can understand each and everything. Getting my point? For example, United Nations is a best example of balance of power. Clear? Then transnational actors and collective security. Transnational actors. Now in this you can say state and non-state actors are also there. For example, terrorists, they are considered as non-state actors. Getting my point? So then world capitalist economy. So here we are going to understand like US, WTO, okay, different tools are there. Then globalization. Clear? Then another important chapter, that is changing international political order. Now this political order, changing international political order, it has been changed, okay, since 17th century. It has been changing since 17th century. So after Second World War, that means after Second World War, United Nations was created. So two superpowers were there. So the concept of superpower came. So at that time two superpowers were there, US and USSR, that means bipolar world order. After 1991, when USSR was dissolved, US was the only superpower, that is unipolar world. But in 21st century there are major powers, China, India, US, Russia, France, various powers. That is why our foreign minister, he always say that we are living in a multipolar world order where different powers are there. Clear? So strategic and ideological bipolarity is there. Then arms race and Cold War era. Okay, that means after the Second World War, two superpowers were there. So the ego clash between two superpowers is called as Cold War. So at that time arms race was started. For example, US conducted nuclear weapon, US started producing nuclear weapons. So in 1949, after Second World War, in 1949, USSR also created nuclear weapon. So from there itself arms race was starting, that who is going to make more and more weapons. This is what we call as arms race. Clear? Then nuclear threat. Yes, this is the biggest threat in 21st century. Even right now, Russia-Ukraine war which is going on. Clear? Then chapter number 8 in section A, that is evolution of international economic system. How international economic system was created, like birth of WTO, then CMEA, Council for Mutual Economic Assistance, then third world demand for new international economic order, then globalization of the world economy, that is after 1991. Clear? So these things we are going to discuss. Clear everyone? Then chapter number 9, United Nations. So we'll try to understand the structure, mandate, issues of United Nations. Okay, now through G20, India is also raising its voice for UN reforms and Security Council. Clear? Then regionalization of world politics. Now the world politics is divided into different regions. For example, for Europe, an organization was created which is called as European Union. Now for South Asia, SAARC was created. For North America, NAFTA was created. For Asia Pacific region, APEC was created. Okay, for Southeast Asia, ASEAN was created. Getting my point? So like this, there are different other regional organizations. Then chapter number 11, contemporary global concerns. So there are contemporary global concerns which is going on, like climate change issue, terrorism issue, human rights issue, democracy issue, violation of democracy, environmental issue, gender justice issues. Getting my point? So these are some important current issues which we will be discussing in our live session. Okay, getting my point? So I hope this section A of paper 2 is clear now. Okay, now if you have any queries, you can kindly post your queries in the comment section. Getting my point? Okay, so I'll be taking up all the queries which you have and will discuss it live. Okay, now section B of paper 2, that is India and the world. Now this section is totally associated with GS paper 2, that is international relations. This is associated with GS paper 2 as well, that is IR. So the first chapter, that is India's foreign policy. How India's foreign policy is determined. So determinants of foreign policy, geography, history. Okay, so then what are the institutions of policy making? Ministry of External Affairs, PMO, think tanks, these institutions are there. Then continuity in change. Yes, how foreign policy of India after 1947, okay, has been changing in 21st century. Getting my point? So you need to understand the picture of 1947, then the picture of 1991, because we have adopted capitalist model, that is LPG reforms. Then today in 2023, what is the nature of India's foreign policy? What is a paradigm shift in India's foreign policy? So these things we are going to discuss. So these things will help you in your newspaper as well. Okay. Then India's contribution to non-alignment movement. So non-alignment movement, which was created after the independence. Okay, so different phases of India's foreign policy is there. Now today India is following multi-alignment approach. So how NAM is evolved. Okay, what is the relevance of NAM in 2023? So these things will be discussing in current role. Clear? Then the third thing is India and South Asia. Now why chapter 3rd is related to India and South Asia? Because South Asia is called as Indian subcontinent. Getting my point? So foreign policy always starts from your neighboring regions. Suppose you have created a house, okay, so who is the first person to whom you are going to interact outside the house? That is your neighbors. So foreign policy is also the same thing, okay, it starts from the neighboring countries, then it is extended towards different parts of the world. Clear? So regional cooperation, SAARC is there for neighboring region. Then South Asia as free trade area, then Act East policy, okay. Now Look East has become Act East policy. Then what are the impediments to regional cooperation? For example, SAARC is a failure. SAARC became a defunct organization after 2016 Uri attack. Getting my point? So these things we are going to discuss. Then river water disputes between India and Bangladesh, India and Pakistan, Indus Water Treaty. Then illegal cross-border migration in northeast area. Clear? Then ethnic conflicts and insurgencies. Here also we are going to understand Manipur violence, which is currently in the picture. Okay. Then border disputes. Okay. India borders and its disputes with other regions like China, Pakistan, Bangladesh and all. Clear? Then another important topic is India and Global South. Now, why Global South is important for 2023, 24 and 25? Because India is heading this G20. Okay, so G20 represents Global South. That is why this topic is very important for your UPSC optional paper. Okay, question will come from this topic. So what are the relations between India with Africa and Latin America regions? Okay, then how India can play its leadership role in WTO negotiations and new international economic order. So these things we are going to understand. Then India and the global centers of power. Global centers of power like United States of America, European Union, Japan, China and Russia. So in this we are going to understand the bilateral relations of India with these global countries. Clear? Then India and UN system. Now what are the changes that India is advocating in United Nations Security Council, that there should be reforms in United Nations Security Council, expansion of the seats of United Nations Security Council. So what is the role of UN peacekeeping mission? Then India's demand for permanent seat in United Nations Security Council. Then the 7th chapter is Indian nuclear question. Okay, now that means what is the perception of India's nuclear doctrine, how India's nuclear doctrine has been changed after second nuclear test and then again changed after 2014. Clear? So India always followed the principle of no first use policy in terms of nuclear weapons. Then chapter 8 is related to current affairs, that is recent developments in India's foreign policy. Example, recently India Prime Minister Modi visited France, then UAE. Okay, so here we are going to understand India's position on recent crisis like in Afghanistan, the rule of Taliban, then Iraq, West Asia. So here we will be discussing India's relations with West Asia. Okay, then India's relations with US and Israel. Okay, then India's vision for a new world order in the sense where each and every country should get voice and how India is going to play its role in new world order. Getting my point? So this is all about your PSIR syllabus. So finally we have decoded this syllabus. Okay, so I hope it will be easier for you all to understand the syllabus now. Okay, I hope you got the sequence how to start with PSIR. Getting my point? Okay, so admissions are going on, and for more information you can log on our website, that is www.legacyIAS.com, and for other courses and for PSIR optional you can call on this number, that is 9606 900005 or 04. Clear? So like this I'll be coming daily at 2:30 p.m. and will be discussing PSIR, some relevant thing with respect to PSIR optional subjects. So I hope you like this session. Thank you so much.